opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Open your eyes.
Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Open Your Eye. Today is October. We're already halfway through October here, October the 12th, 2021, in the all new podcast focused on the use of psychedelics as a medicine and the first video podcast here on the Pace Radio Network. I would like to take the time now to introduce my joint host, the one and only, the lovely Miss Cindy Howell. How you doing today, hon?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing today, Kim?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's we had like a wonderful day today with, excellent weather. We got up to like 25 degrees. That's unheard of in Northern Ontario in the middle of October. So
On
yeah,
October.
I lapped up the sunshine and the vitamin D, man. It was awesome.
Perfect. Perfect. Sounds like a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
moving all day.
it
I
was
was packing.
fantastic. Yeah, you're moving, you're packing, you're moving furniture, you're moving stuff and boxes. Oh, the joys.
The
The
joy.
joys.
A week from now, it'll be done.
Week
Yay.
from now. 1 week from now. Yay. Well, before we bring in today's exciting guest, I'm really excited about today's guest too. I know today's conversation is going to be fun, guy-tastic. But before we get to that, we do have a news story that Cindy and I are going to want to cover. And yeah, I got to go in here and push some buttons, pushing buttons, pushing buttons. There it is. Share my screen. There we go. Sharing the screen with the audience. It's quite the news story on a article about a movie that you and I are big fans of. This is coming to us from Healthline, and it's about fantastic fungi.
Yeah. The Fungi Conference and Film reveal the true magic of mushrooms. Fantastic Fungi director wants you to take a look closer at the world.
Yeah, for sure. Of the 1.5 million species of fungi that scientists have identified, about 20,000 produce mushrooms, according to Fantastic Fungi. And mushrooms are the reproductive organs that release spores into the air. The spores act similarly to seeds and help the fungi reproduce. This movie is fantastic, and that's why we are covering this story. There's an entire underground complex, that network of roots known as mycelium. And think of mycelium as a passageway through which fungi share nutrients and information, a sort of internet embedded in nature, which is very cool.
It's really crazy. They don't just talk to each other. They talk to like all the other plants. Like all the roots are interconnecting. This is what they taught us in the movie. It blew my mind.
Yeah, very cool. It's a rather lengthy article. It goes on talk about how fungi could help the climate crisis, and mushrooms are a nutritional powerhouse. Well, this we've known through advertising as well. Talking about shiitake mushrooms and the healing powers of them. But shiitakes, they are not the only ones. Once you dive into the mushroom families, I mean, there's so many that are so high in nutrition. Portobello, shiitake, cremini, oyster mushrooms, just to name a few. The article goes on to talk more about that, and then it gets into the part that I find really interesting. Psilocybin, or magic mushrooms, may support mental health and wellness.
Yes, yes. Mushroom health benefits extend beyond their nutritional profile. Absolutely. Many mycologists argue that they possess a unique ability to expand human consciousness. In fact, in the movie Fantastic Fungi, renowned mycologist Paul Stamets tells the story of his first time taking psilocybin mushrooms, commonly called magic mushrooms. He credits the mystical experience with curing his debilitating lifelong stuttering. I remember remember him telling that story. It was the first time he did a large dose, and what did he say? He took 7 grams.
Yeah, 7 grams of some high dose mushrooms, and he tripped.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Yeah. Great movie. Stamets estimated the documentary that he took about 10 times the recommended dose, and of course his perceptions were quickly distorted in both awesome and horrifying ways, showing him the world from a perspective he never could have imagined. He felt compelled to climb a nearby tree so he could see more of the sky. I mean, and it's an amazing journey that this man has gone on, and that was the start of all of it.
Yeah. He, when he came down the next morning, in more ways than one, he had lost his stutter from this,
Yeah.
and that got him thinking at a young age. Well, if it can do this, what else? And
What else
and
can it do?
that started, it started a love affair that he has had his whole life with mycelium. And he gives us a lot of information in this movie.
He does. He does.
He does,
I don't want to get all into this huge, long article, which basically breaks down the entire movie and lets the entire cat out of the bag. My biggest takeaway from this would be watch the movie. Absolutely watch the movie. Fantastic Fungi. Eye-opening experience that started with one man's journey and led him on a path for decades of research that has gone into mushrooms of all kinds.
Yes, it's really exciting, actually. I was a mushroom fan before the movie, but wow, it'll totally change your perspective on what these magical things are.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And tonight's guest is well versed in many plant remedies that can expand the mind, calm the mind, open the mind to new things, and really change somebody's life. And it should be a very interesting evening speaking to this man. Um, Now it's great that he's a professional. He's a registered nurse. So coming into this from a medical standpoint is very exciting. He was your
Yeah,
nurse.
he was my nurse. Yeah, my nurse on
Yeah,
my big Iboga journey, and I couldn't have asked for a more compassionate man to help me with that. Yeah.
absolutely. I've enjoyed getting him to know him over social media and short conversations on podcasting and that. And at this time, I would love to introduce our audience to Mr. Patrick Fishley. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for agreeing to join us. Absolutely,
pleasure.
absolutely. Now, the first thing I want to address with you, Patrick,
Mm.
this is always something that I don't know too much about these things. the letters beside your name. RN, BScN, CCRN. Then there's more that are down on the bottom. Oh wow, there's just so many. RN's the only one I know, and that's registered nurse. And I only know that because my daughter's a nurse.
Yeah.
Can you please
Yeah.
tell us what the other credentials are?
Let's see what I put that on there. So yeah, so the RN, obviously registered nurse. I'm a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and I'm also taking the critical care for registered nursing for intensive care unit and emergency nursing as well. ACLS training, which is advanced life support, which gets into all the life and death type scenarios and that with medications and electricity and whatnot, and just kind of understanding how the body works in general. What else? What else is there? I don't know. I'm a certified transformational recovery coach with Being True to You as well, and psychedelics, as well as recovery and addictions with that. I think that's it,
Nice.
isn't it?
Nice.
I
Yeah,
know.
I think so. I think you
It's
covered
hard
it
for me to,
all.
it's hard for me to
You
look
know,
over here and keep looking at the screen at the same time. I'm not that well versed yet.
we get it. We
Yeah.
get it. We understand. I mean, your bio is impressive to say the least. I just
I've
want
been
to try
around.
and give people an idea of who you are and where your
Mhm.
credentials come from, and that you're not just, some guy that we've dug up here. You've been active with addiction, mental health in emergency and in the ICU. 11 years on the transplant team in BC. Minor treatment aficionado, BTTY certified addiction recovery and psycho-spiritual coach. And then you got involved with plant medicine in 2012. That included
Yes.
Ibogaine, Iboga, and Psilocybin.
Mhm.
Med services, coaching, counseling, pre-screening, and integration. This is an impressive list.
That's just what I do.
Just what
it's
you do.
it's
And humble too.
yeah, like I've been nursing for 30 years, and I really loved doing what I was doing, and really advocating for the patient as best we could with the Western medical part of it, um, and being in the intensive care unit and the emerge. You know, my autonomy levels were super high, so I could really advocate and really think outside the box and inside the box and behind the box and all around the box for people. What's going on, and make my own judgment calls around it, which was really quite significant. And I really felt honored to be able to do that for the clients and such. But as much as that we were helping people, and it's needed at times for sure, the part that's missing is the actual healing behind it. Because you can help walk someone off an addiction, but have you actually had a chance to heal them? Well, our medical society doesn't allow for that time. You're not allowed to do certain things and this and that. And so I was introduced to plant medicine, like in 2012, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing stuff, right? And I started working clinically with Ibogaine,
Yeah.
and it was really just opened my eyes to what was available as far as interrupting addiction, and what was out there for people. And there's it's not just a dead end. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light says, come on in, we're here, let's talk. And it's not a magic pill. And anyone who's done any types of psychedelics, it really doesn't matter what type, it's not a magic pill. It just opens up the barriers, removes some blinders, so you can see the truth, so you can get access to the brain, where we have like just surmountous amounts of knowledge up here that we don't have access to on a regular basis. We really truly do have everything in our brains to be able to heal ourselves, if we can only access it.
Yeah.
And psychedelics, what a wonderful vessel for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And-
You know, you
yeah.
mentioned the healthcare not going far enough. You know, I've heard the term before and I've really adopted it lately. We really don't have healthcare. We have sick care.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all reactionary for the most part. There's not a lot of it is not proactive. I mean, there are parts of it are a little bit
Right.
proactive, but usually you don't come and see us unless something's aching or hurting. Most of the time we go to the
Right.
doctor and say, "Oh, I just thought I just," you can go to the doctor and say, "It's been in my family. I'm okay, but maybe you should get tested." Sure, they might deem that's okay to test you, but that's just like the beginning of it, and that's about as far as it is. And they wait until something shows, and that's all reactionary. Whereas this
Yeah.
is
This
very
is different.
proactive, right? I mean, a lot of us
Proactive,
do.
preventative.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and yes, let's be honest. A lot of people come to plant medicines because something has happened profound to them. They're realizing they've
Yes.
had trauma, or they've got depression or anxieties, or they've got addictions. So that's reactive in a sense as well. But, you get that part done and then it's proactive nonstop. But you can come to this proactive, just going, I'd like to have some clarity. I'd like to know myself better so I can better serve myself and serve the world or my passions. And that's very proactive. So that's exciting.
It is.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
Cindy has personal experience with you as a nurse doing what you do out there in
Mhm.
BC. And that was how we got to know you, was through her
Mm.
Iboga ceremony that she had recently gone through. And when I know this for personal experience. I know Cindy for a long time
Mhm.
before she went to BC. And I can tell you, since she's come back, the difference is profound.
Mhm. Yeah. And visually as well. I mean, just look at you.
Yes,
It's like just bright and
yes,
shining, you know. And I see a
that's
lot of
right.
this self-love you have now, and and we're gonna have up days and down days.
Yep.
We all do, but it's how you get through
Yeah,
it. You got more tools in your tool belt now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. And
yeah,
I get what you're saying with the reactive and the proactive. Like, I mean, when I came to you guys and I finally found inner realms and I got to you guys and I like, I mean, I was at a desperate point.
Mhm.
And now I'm looking to the next ceremony, and it's because I want to go further. I'm not at that desperate point anymore. I want to learn more. I want to be better. I want to do it again and hug myself again. And it's a much different desire to go do it now than it was, July 1st, right?
Yes, yes,
now it's no longer a sense of urgency, it's a sense of excitement.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Right. You're discovering
Yeah,
who you really are, who the true, genuine Cindy is.
Yep.
And
yeah.
it's beautiful, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There's a term we
yeah,
use a lot. It's
yeah.
called
There's
basi, and basi is means it's from the Bwiti in Gabon, who are the tribes people who originally started with this Iboga, and we say basi, and it's Basse, and that's basi means like something you agree with or it's truth, or like like so we say that a lot. You might hear me say when I hear you say something, just so you
Yeah.
know, and the viewers know, like, what's that guy saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
yeah. Okay. So that's one of the things that you learned. So tell us about um, how you got all this knowledge. Now you've mentioned some people there. So you've traveled abroad in order to learn, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I did. I've been always a student of medicine and a student um, of science, always looking that there's more ways. Like back when I was just in ICU and emerge only, there was it was always looking and reading up articles and peer reviewed, like real scientific articles, and talking with people in the know who can explain, why these different modalities are working, and why aren't we back with our, indigenous roots from all over the world, integrating them with our Western medicine, And so I did do a lot of investigating and a lot of research on that, and worked with a lot of really good people. Gareth. We first started working with Gareth, and he's quite knowledgeable about plant medicines, and he's a fantastic guy. And his spouse is with her now, Blair. She's super amazing. She's awesome. I worked with them for quite a few years, and then we went and we were invited to do a very ceremonial type of a session with a fellow you had on your show once before, Mark Howard from IbogaSoul, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we went there, and it was all doctors and counselors and health care professionals who have been sending their clients to us and such, and they wanted to experience what this was about. So I said, sure, I'll come and help. I'll be the nurse, And there was like 14 people or so there, and it was something else. And when I saw the very ceremonial, very traditional form of presenting this medicine to people and holding that space, it was like it's the full meal deal. It was like everything, because you had the addiction interruption, but then you had this complete psychospiritual of going so far out, yet so far in, that everything shows to be released. And so, yeah, and we've just been working ever since. And so now, I was supposed to go to Africa this past summer, but our daughter got very, very sick, so we couldn't go at last minute. But my spot and my wife's spot is a place for next year. We're going to go there. We're to be initiated and do the rites of passage over there with the tribe, But so yeah, it's been
Nice.
interesting.
That's really exciting.
Nice.
That's really exciting for you. I'm so happy
It
for
is.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed our life completely. I'm a lot softer of a person now. I don't have that really hard edge I had for many, many, many years. And I never had a
Who,
lot of
you?
problems.
No, you don't look like you would have been hard.
No, never. but it's yeah, I have no idea what I was saying now.
I'm
No.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay.
My one-liners. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. But it did. It totally changed how I saw things, how I viewed my own personal life. Like, I didn't have much of an addiction. The only thing I had was I smoked, and I smoked since I was 6. I struggled with that,
Yeah.
struggled. And anyway, so it's helped with that, but it's helped with me, who I am, and some of the traumas I had as a kid occurring. And I'll tell you right now, I was very blessed as a kid growing up, really blessed. I didn't think I had any traumas, and there weren't any traumas as such, but they were just the way we understand when we're young. This whole childhood PTSD is not just the physical abuse or the mental abuse that someone's pouring down on you. I mean, that's part of it, but there's also the understanding as a kid. We don't formulate what's being told to us sometimes in the way that it's being presented, and so we take it and we put it to pieces in here, and it formulates a story, and that story stays with us forever.
Ever.
Mm-hmm. Until you can come to it and it's released. And so I had that happen, and that was like a beautiful thing. And it just freed up so many things. But the biggest thing is I learned to let it go, and I even got them tattooed on my hands. Or am I there? Can you see it? Yeah.
We see it. Yeah. Let it
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Because
Let
I'm
it
one of
go.
those. I'm one of those critical care nurses, a AAA personality, and gotta do everything. And God damn it, I'm going to do it. And it kills me,
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. So I had to learn to let that kind of stuff go. But yeah, it's very interesting with plant medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an amazing journey, that's for sure. I want Cindy to dive in and talk a bit about her journey and stuff. I know for me myself, after watching what Cindy's gone through, we had this discussion pre-show. Watching what Cindy, the experience that she had, doing the research that I've done on Iboga, Ibogaine, ayahuasca, DMT, magic mushrooms, or psilocybin. I'm currently a psilocybin consumer. I use it as a medicine. I do my microdoses and I do my macrodoses and I do my resets. And I've been doing that for almost 3 years now. And I'm ready for the next step. But Iboga, Ibogaine, and ayahuasca still scare the shit out of me. I'll be 100% honest. They scare the living shit out of me. I am not ready for that. But DMT, now we're talking. Now we're talking. That's going to be my next step. Cindy skipped over all of that. She went straight for the Ibogas. And yeah, man, I'm all in. She dove in head first and like without a thought, she just went. And I'm kind of going, you sure? Okay. And I am so happy that she did, because it was the right thing to do for her.
Yeah.
Look at her now.
Believe it or not, I get that from almost every single person in the psychedelic world I talk to. I'm part of a few groups, and you know, when you get into conversations, it's like, yes, okay, so I went and did some Iboga, and they're like, well, so you did all this stuff before? No, I did Iboga first. I did some mushrooms, and I did Iboga. They're like, are you crazy? And I'm like, no, not anymore. Iboga fixed it.
A little bit. A little bit. She was. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, but I get that a lot. Like, like wow, you went right for the big boy. And I'm yeah, I guess I did. But it was the one that was presented in front of me, because of course I watched Dosed, where was my first view of all of you folks, right? And I'm like, that's what I need. What they did for her, that's what I need. And that was it. I was it took me, I worked out the exact time, 2 years, 1 month, and 3 days to get my butt to Gareth's. But that's what it took from the time I saw it to the time I got picked up off the boat by Gareth.
And that's your journey. That was your journey.
It was it was perfect for me, right? Life changing.
I wanted to segue in here with Kim for half a second. When she said, I hear it a lot from people, just what she said about all that stuff, and it scares the shit out of me, and I don't want to do that. So you'd rather keep the shit inside, because I mean, our shit that stinks, get it out.
I know.
Let it go.
Right, let it go. And sometimes the hardest thing you can do is take the dose. And that's another movie, of course. But it's very true. Sometimes it's the hardest thing. But we hear it a lot, from different people. I've talked with people who've sat with ayahuasca like 300 times, and they're avid doing that, and they just love the connection they get with the community and with the medicine and the spirit and everything else like that. And I'll be like, so have you ever tried, what about Iboga? Oh, no. That's dark. That's scary. Well, I'd say, so how's it going for you? Because are you still working on stuff? Oh yeah. So maybe why don't you come on and try it? Because it's revered as one of the biggest ones out there. But it's like when Cindy, she went through the first time, was that my first time ever was with Iboga, and same with my wife Michelle. First time, Iboga, bam. It was this great, big, intelligent spirit who just coddled you like a little baby in such soft arms, and it took such good care, and it was so loving and very thorough. And to me, that was like, wow, right, Cindy?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I mean, one of the things that as I was going into my big dose that we were talking about, that I wanted to bring up on this particular episode with you was the Iboga Hospital.
Yes.
You were telling me about your experiences with the Iboga Hospital, and I ended up having my own. But can you share those with us? Because I can't do justice to of course you telling your own, right?
Yeah. So the spirit of Iboga loves to watch us and listen to us and likes to listen to our questions, and it loves to be asked questions. and it wants to respond and answer to our questions, and it will. So one of the ways by which Iboga works is that it works within the neurons in our brain. Works to repair them, for neuroplasticity, for neurogenesis, just for creating new pathways and whatnot. So it just does a lot of repair that way. So I always tell people, if you got some pain and it's been bothering you for a long time and you want to get rid of it, when you're taking your journey, ask to go to the Iboga hospital. And I mean, I went there the first time and I got there and I looked at this hospital, the lights were all off and the doors were closed and locked, and I can't get in. I was like, okay. So I called the Iboga ambulance and they came and I said, can I go to the hospital? He said, sure. And when I got there, I said, hey, I'm having some pain in wherever. Can you take care of that pain for me? And you can get scanned, you can get it, however you want to do it, doesn't matter. And they said, done. And it was just bam, done. Now, I'm not going to guarantee that every time you go to Iboga and you ask him for something like that, it's going to happen, because it's like that Rolling Stone song. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And if it's what it believes that you need to help carry you forward, you will get blessed with that for sure. And it does. It helps. It takes pain away.
Yep.
And so tell me about your story there with that, Cindy.
Well, of course, you told me all of this as I was, heading into my spirit walk, like literally moments before I headed in. So I'm not sure exactly at what point. I mean, it was hours in. I ended up in front of a hospital. And I giggled because, even on my first thought was, ha, there you go, Patrick, I found the hospital. So I went in and I went right into as I walked in the door, I was in an exam room and I sat down and I heard a voice saying, and what can I help you with? And I'm like, well, years ago, I dislocated my right hip in a car accident. It'd be kind of cool to have that undislocated. And I felt my hip click.
Yeah.
Literally. I put my fingers on where my hip bones were. The next day, Patrick said they look even. I have now been checked out and my hip is no longer dislocated.
Bossy, that's awesome. Right?
Right. So it had been dislocated for over 20 years.
Amazing.
And yeah.
Amazing.
Now, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, when one of my little microdose spirit walks, I'm like, hey, what about this tinnitus? Right? Like I ended up back in the hospital and I heard sorry. And this is like, okay, thanks. Yeah. So it definitely, I mean, obviously the spirit believed that my hip was something that would help me going forward. And you get to hear the ringing. No worries. Okay.
That's right. But it's
that's
true.
not really disturbing to your health.
Yeah. It's true. You get what you need, right? You get it every time what you need.
Yes.
And you're being open to that and coming in with the whole mindset and heart set of surrender, coming into these ceremonies is key in your intentions, right? And that's from where you end up getting a lot from it, from what your intentions are and your heart set is like.
Yeah, I got so much more than I ever even dreamed was possible, right? Like, I was hoping for, a little bit of healing from childhood trauma, and I came out of it with like just so much more. Yeah.
Yeah, you had quite the time.
I did.
I know. That was so amazing, right?
Yeah, it was. I was, Gareth tells me, he goes, it was because I was very open to the medicine. Like I was so inviting of it, and I was so ready for it that shabam, like it just.
You ran forward like this.
Yeah. And I mean, I still like. I mean, I still have
open. You were grabbing it.
Yeah,
you were like, take me. You're like, here, come freaking here, like now.
Yeah, I was. I ran for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and coming prepared to medicine is so key. Like when you come prepared to medicine, it meets you where you're at. You know,
Yeah.
if you're in a rush and the
Yeah.
world and it's in chaos and everything else, and you just kind of like Kramer come through the door, you know, there you are, you know,
Yeah.
that scene from Kramer,
Yeah.
right? You know, and you just come in the door,
Yeah.
I guess, and I mean, it'll still meet you, but you're so neurologically strained and everything's just on fire, and you know, you're not going to get the benefits as if you, even if you're running towards something, you take your time and you're doing your due diligence and you're getting ready and you're coming, you're going to get a lot more out of any type of plant medicine you're going to, you know, sit down with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
looking forward, I think, just as much to Cindy's next journey as she is, because I have an idea in my head, on what it's gonna do for her, uh, because of her changed mindset going in. Like I said before, like it was, I need to do this for my peace of mind. I
Mm.
need to get better. And she ran full steam ahead towards it. And I think when she does it again, with having a calmer mindset and just going in and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm here.
Mm.
Hello." Instead of going like a bull in a china shop, I think it's going to be a very different and deeper uh, experience for her from everything that I've seen and researched.
Absolutely. And you know, when we come to any kind of a plant medicine, like in ceremony, especially in ceremony, you know, if we're doing our due diligence, we're doing our homework, we're doing our integration, which is super important for any plant medicine. So if we're doing that, then when we come back again to that plant medicine, it should be different. It should be deeper. It should be more inclusive because we should be coming back as a different person. We shouldn't necessarily be coming back as the same person. Now, that's not to say that, you know, life happens and things happen. And sometimes we're right back at square one again, going, "Oh, I know it worked last time, but I messed up, and here I am again. Please just help me." And I mean, it will help you
Yeah,
again, sure, right? But when we
absolutely.
do everything, every experience gets more meaningful, more deep, more loving,
Yeah.
right? And it's more expressive and
Yeah.
Yeah, and
mhm,
I just look at the change in her and the
mhm,
experience that she had. I mean, she is up on cloud 9, and she
yeah.
still talks about everything that she went through and the experience that she had when we have one-on-one conversations in the middle of the freaking night, and and she's just got this glow, right? She's just
Mhm,
glowing, and the smile, and she's up here when you're talking about it. And I just think to myself, wow, what is this gonna be for you when you go in there calmer, if this is what you got going in
mm,
there like a raging bull?
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I'm
That's exciting.
unbelievably excited, right? Like
yeah.
it's I'm
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next time. Um it'll happen sometime within the next 12 months. I know that for a fact. If it doesn't happen before, I'm going to go out for the psychedelic conference in September or in October. So I hope to meet up with Gareth at that point in time. Yeah.
Mhm,
So I'm, at the very least, at the very longest, that will be the next time. So
yeah.
I'm unbelievably excited. Right.
Mhm. And
yeah,
Yeah.
for
Cindy,
sure.
just share a little bit, if you can, that because when people are hearing us talk about your experience, you know, and how you look like this now and everything else, and you went to the hospital, it was all great. Was there ever some like rough times that you were going through? Was it hard?
I'm gonna get you to hold that thought. Hold
Oh,
that thought, and Cindy, that's what we're gonna come back with, because I just looked at the clock and it is commercial break time. It's time for us to pay some bills. So we're gonna have a
smoke
word
some
from our
dabs.
sponsor, and that gives Cindy a chance to smoke some dabs. Come back in about 3.5 minutes, and we'll get Cindy's answer to
Mm.
Gareth's question. In the
Gotcha.
meantime, stay tuned and have a listen to the sponsors that we have here on OYE and help us pay some bills. We'll be right back after a break from these sponsors. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we are back from our medication session here on the Pace Radio Network on our show, Open Your Eye, a look into psychedelics as a medicine, with my joint host, one and only, lovely Miss Cindy Howell.
Hello.
We've got a question up for you that you've had time to contemplate, and now it's soon time to answer as soon as I get this button to push, and we bring our guest Patrick back in.
Yes.
Good question there, Patrick, for Cindy. Where was it that we left off?
Hard times.
Yeah.
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 Hard times.
Not like
Yeah,
putting you
no,
on the spot, eh?
It as joyous as I ended up with everything at the end, no, like it was not an easy journey at all. How did I introduce Gareth when he was on the show? From the fact that I saw you guys on the movies and I flew across the country to go take this crazy psychedelic with a bunch of guys I saw in the movies, right? Like how crazy am I for doing that? So.
And you're staying with people that you've only known on social media.
Yeah, exactly. So that shows you how desperate I was to heal. So that was hard. On the boat going to meet Gareth was hard. Millie helped, and I mean little nurse Millie. She was a joy. And then of course when he gave me the first handshake dose, I mean, like as I took it, I swear I was like shaking, right? And you know, and then when I took the big dose the next day, I mean, when you were there, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, my heart rate was faster, my blood pressure was up. I was absolutely terrified. You know, moving when you're on it was hard, and of course, and then there was the moment that I healed, and that's the moment that my body outwardly cried. I was bawling. You know, and that was a hard thing to do. That took hours. You know, and when Patrick says you've got to ask Iboga, I mean, he's not kidding. I mean, because I mean, I was there, and I mean, like, you know, like I was having a conversation with Iboga, and I was saying, why do I not feel healed yet? Iboga said, well, you have to go back and face when your PTSD started, my dear. And I'm like, well, I thought it did. And I had to ask him to take me to that spot. And that was hard. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy, but and I'm going to cry, the most rewarding thing I've ever done for myself, right? Like you know, that moment that Iboga said, aha, well, there's the question. And he took me there and he said, and this is where you were hurt. This is where it started. This is the little girl you need to heal. And then we worked on healing her. And, you know, it wasn't, you know, I had to gain her trust. And I don't know how many hours that took, you know, in my spirit walk, but that was the work I had to convince her that I was her and I was worth trusting, you know, and with the help of Iboga, I did. But it was hard, you know, as much as I'll sit here and smile about it. Yeah, it's not an easy journey. When you are there and you are in this spirit walk with all the glorious stories that I've told about being on the back of an eagle and going to the Iboga hospital, you got to work on why you're there, because you're there to heal. And it was not an easy thing to do.
The work.
But it was an amazing journey.
But that's what's giving you. That's what's giving you the release that you have now is because you did that work while you were there.
Then, you know, of course, while I was there and I did that, I got some really glorious things too. Like I got to see my mom, you know, who was gone. You know, she'd been gone for 4 years at that point. So I got to see her. I got to visit the Rainbow Bridge, and, you know, like my dog Piper came running at me from across the field and knocked me over. And, you know, he was so excited that I was there. Then I got to see, you know, everybody's dogs. And it was, you know, it was just fantastic. You're sitting there and you're absorbing the love that these animals want to throw at their owners. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it all. And, you know, like, so with all the work I did, and it was hard, I got some really beautiful moments while I was there too. So.
Absolutely.
It's quite the journey. Now your journey, so people understand and can comprehend, anybody that's new out there that may be joining us now, that didn't catch your retake of your journey. This was not, you know, like what we know from say psilocybin or magic mushrooms. This is not like a 4 or 6 hour journey. How long were you on your journey for?
The first one I was the handshake dose. It was 6 to 7 hours, and then by the time
the handshake dose.
That's the handshake dose.
The low one. 6 or 7 hours. Okay.
And then by the time my feet were fully back on the ground from the big dose, it was, you know, 16, 17 hours. Yeah.
17-hour journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of work. Like the handshake dose I did work in too, but that was really getting to know Iboga and the space I was in, right? Like, you know, and I thought that
over the course of a couple of days. 22 hours over the course of a couple of days.
22 to 24 hours over the course of 48. I was walking in the spirit world, and it was amazing.
Yeah. You know, and I wanted to mention especially for viewers who are watching who maybe don't know this medicine quite so much, is that it's not just something you take on a whim. It's not just something you go online and just order. And you know, like, well,
that's why you're there.
Yeah, you know, and
I get immersed.
You know, but I've heard people say, "Well, I'm going to order it off Facebook." I see there's some people in Gabon and there's some people in Africa there.
Yeah.
That's where it's from.
Oh
Well,
God.
we've had stuff like that tested before, and I'm not saying it's from them, but I've heard stories and I've seen stories where it comes in, and sometimes these things are contaminated, and sometimes you even have fentanyl in it. I mean, I don't even get that, and so it's just you can't. You got to be really careful where you're getting it from. You have to know 110% where you're getting it from, and then you have to have a trusted provider who is qualified, and ask around. I mean, the plant business circle is, it's got a lot of different fingers everywhere, and people talk, and stories go around, and get the stories, find out who's credible.
Reach out to me. I can send you to 2 different websites.
Yeah, she knows some credible people.
I know a few.
Yeah. And then on top of it, so what happens then is you need to, get some medical tests done. So especially with these big plant medicines, because like real medicines, they come with side effects, and it's just the way it is. It's like when you need something for your heart at the hospital, they give you digoxin. Well, it has side effects, and all these other things. Well, same with Iboga. It's not toxic side effects, but they have side effects, and so you need to have lab work, special lab work done for sure. EKG that's confirmed by cardiologists, and then you can read it to make sure it's compatible with our medicine, and do we need to tweak your diet or something to get you there, and then there comes a whole medical history that they take, and that's what Blair and Gareth would have done with you, is a whole medical history, from anything you're taking to herbs, supplements, all these different factors, your health history, your family's history, different things like that, how your lungs and heart and liver and kidneys and all these things, they all factor in to big details so that you can lay down with such a big medicine. And ayahuasca is like that too. You should be looking at that kind of stuff as well. Even on something as safe as psilocybin, which is like 100 times safer than alcohol, for heaven's sakes. You still need to be worked up on that too, to some degree, so you're not coming into it with, antidepressants and things like that, So, it takes a lot of diligence to go. You don't just come up and just on a weekend go, I decided to do this. Someone came to the party with a whole bunch of Iboga.
I'm doing Iboga today.
I mean, you can
Let's
do
do
that.
this. Let's do an Iboga ceremony.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's not a rec drug. It is absolutely a medicine. And the criteria that goes, like when Cindy was getting ready, she was telling me, oh yeah, I have to go for an EKG. I have to get my heart checked. And I'm like, what? How dangerous is this shit? And she's like, no, everybody's got to do it, right? And I'm like, oh my God. But then as you learn,
was having a panic attack for me.
I really, really was. I was scared for her. But then as you learn more about it, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I know I get that as a side effect with mushrooms when I'm doing a macro dose. The heart goes a little bit faster. You get the heaviness in the chest. It feels like there's something pushing down on your chest, and stuff like that. So it's understandable if you're doing a macro dose of something that's going to heal your mind and body and spirit. Well, of course you have to be able to take it without adverse effect, and you need to get that shit checked.
Yeah, and you touched
Absolutely.
on one important topic there, is that for a macrodose, yes, you need to do that, but so the whole fad nowadays is microdosing this, microdosing that, microdosing whatever.
Yeah.
So some people will microdose or will want to microdose Iboga. I don't want the whole handshake, but I want just a little bit, just to kind of get me there, and and once again, do all those things, get checked, get that, because you don't know. And the thing that's going to get you in the end is something that you're not aware of, and we all have them. We live in the Western world. It's not like in Africa where they don't have these tests for all this stuff. They just do it, but they're born, and by the time they're able to sit and chew on something, they're chewing on Iboga roots as babies and kids.
Yeah.
They're raised on this stuff, and it's different. They don't have the same comorbidities as we do. So even
they don't have McDonald's down the street. that they're
No,
eating at every
no.
day, and they're
They
not
have
smoking
McBushies.
cigarettes, and they're not drinking the alcohol, and they're not,
Everything's
like all
different.
of our for all of our Western stuff that we've got, most of it's for shit for you.
Yeah.
So it's a no wonder we need these kinds of tests first.
Yeah, absolutely. And just because for safety purposes, I've seen when someone is just doing microdosing, and it's the very smallest amount, and they've taken one little microdose one day, 72 hours later, I've seen them have a cardiac event. Because even one little bit can change it because of whatever they're on for medications or health history or anything else. So it's a matter of just getting it checked. It's a very safe medicine when it's used in a very safe, reverent way and responsible way. Yeah, that's my 2 cent plug.
Interaction with other medicines, interactions with other medicines, other elements in your life, whether it be food or anything that you're ingesting. That's true with anything you take. That's the first thing, that the doctor or the pharmacist looks up. If you get a new prescription for something, they look and they say, oh, well, what else are you on? And if there's a problem, they say, oh, well, you can't take this and this together, and you're not allowed to do that. So, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Sure. Because let me ask you, Kim, I'll pick on you now. So let's say you go,
I'm ready.
Oh man, I just did a whole walk for 2 miles and I'm kind of out of breath and oh my God, my chest kind of hurts and oh man, it feels like my heart's pounding, maybe my blood pressure's up high. Oh, Patrick, you take some blood pressure medications. Can I have one of yours? Oh, hell yeah. Almost said it. Hell yeah. Here you go. Have some of mine.
Here you go.
And is that responsible? And would you do it? Would the average person take someone else's? No. So then why are we so willing to risk everything without actually thinking about these are real medicines which can heal us?
Medicine.
Yeah. And so as long as we start to think that way, and it's that teaching, that's what good shows like this are about, is teaching people that, they're amazing, wonderful modalities, but just do it right. Be safe and get the most out of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when done safely, when done correctly, they can do so much. I mean, psychedelics have changed many lives, mine included, and I'm still on the low dose, and I'm doing the psilocybin journey. I haven't ventured into anything heavier yet, but I do intend to do so in the very near future. But I have some due diligence to take care of first and get an EKG. I'm going to take care of all of that first. And then I will embark on my DMT journey, but I will do my due diligence first. This is about the only thing that's going to get my ass into the doctor's office is the desire to do this. So I will see a doctor for that, but only because I have to make Patrick happy and everybody else happy. So yes, I will do that.
Absolutely.
And but I haven't journeyed into any of the heavier stuff, but there's many avenues for psychedelic therapy, and it's becoming more and more mainstream. We're seeing really great strides being made in places like Holland, where they're growing psilocybin and they're manufacturing edibles and capsules and doing research and that. Do you have much experience on the psilocybin end?
Myself? Yeah, I do have some experience on that. And I mean, I love it. It's such a beautiful, heart-opening medicine, and you could, and once again, it allows you to go out, but it allows you to go within too, and they're all different levels, but it's just so different. And I've had healing working with psilocybin as well, from like my gluten allergy gone.
Nice.
My use for a CPAP machine gone.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's not that it healed it; it just opened it up to allow me to access to heal myself, right? And it's beautiful. Yeah. But there's so many really cool modalities with the psilocybin and that, you know. Oh, definitely. It's there was something else I was
Yeah.
going to say, and,
Yeah.
and I don't remember. I'll think of it.
You'll think of it. Pop back
I'll
into your
think of
head.
it.
Just
I'll
chime
think of
in
it.
whenever. Just
Yeah,
chime in whenever.
I
Yeah.
will. I will.
There's a lot of edibles out there now.
Mm.
Psilocybin is it's almost rage popular right now. The expansion into psychedelics has been explosive in the last couple of years, and that's why we created this show. Cindy and I do another show called the Reefer Reporters, where we report on cannabis news. And psilocybin, we're both on low dose psilocybin. We were both microdosing psilocybin for a number of years, a small number of years. And all of a sudden we'd have conversations about that. And then researching for cannabis news, psilocybin kept popping up in our feeds. And it's like, oh, well, there's one show a week. It's like, well, one news story on psilocybin is good. And so we'll slide that in there with the cannabis news, right? And then it started getting to the point where it's like, well, we've got to pick one of them. There's 3. Oh my God, we've got to pick one of them. There's 5. And then it's like, holy cow, which one are we going to do? Because there's news stories every day now on psilocybin. And I'm finding that's opening doors to conversations about bigger psychedelics like Iboga.
Well, yeah, that's how we got talking about the fact that I was going this route, which was part of like this show and whatnot. Was we just started talking about psilocybin as we were doing the Reefer Reporters.
Yeah,
and it brought us here.
Definitely. And
absolutely.
I really believe that some of the the lighter psychedelics like MDMA and psilocybin, and by lighter I only mean that they're not as such a heavy like a large medicine like ayahuasca,
not a heavy
or
hitter.
Iboga.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
heavy in their own rights, because they're such a light one, they're the ones that are going to be forefronting this whole thing for research. It's all out there. Maps, all these studies going on. We even have like groups here in Vancouver and over here in Kelowna, like where I'm at, and there's new things popping up. And ketamine's another one that's been around for a long time. It's a little bit different idea, but same idea. And they're using these modalities for research on that, which is going to open up a huge space for everything else. Because unfortunately, years ago, with the war on drugs and with Nixon and all that, we all got conglomerated into this great big soup basket of psychedelics. Bad, poof, like. And because there was a few getting recreational, then people starting to ask questions and stuff. And of course, no one wants to ask questions, and it just all got turfed. And so we're going to really see a lot of leeway over the next 5 years because of this research with, some of these ones that are out in the forefront right now. You're going to see a lot. It's going to
absolutely.
No, I hope so. I hope a lot of doors get opened up. I'm I'm gonna try and do my part by going after my licensing for everything to help that help show the government that we are using it for medical purposes. And I'm not going to stop there either. I'm going to do my best to get special permission to use all of the plant medicine that I choose to use. And I'm lucky enough to have a doctor.
Both Cindy and I are going for our Section 56.
Yeah,
we're both going for a Section 56.
Yes.
So let's see what happens. We're using different avenues, so that's really cool. It's going to be a little bit of an experiment. Cindy's got backing from a doctor that's been seeing her for a very long time, a respected doctor in her field. And so she's going to have a letter backing her request for a Section 56. And I'm going solo. And I'm just going to do the letter with a lawyer and have it written properly, and we're both going to submit. And let's see what Health Canada does.
It should be interesting.
Health Canada wants. It takes a stand where it has to really be careful what it says and what it can allow, whenever. But they're open to conversations. I've talked to them many times, with regards
Yes, well,
to
I mean, they
psilocybin
have,
or Iboga and stuff, you know?
yeah, they have granted, a number of Section 56s across Canada.
Yeah.
We personally know some people who have like a personal one. I do, like I said, I have a doctor on board, so I'm very got my fingers crossed. And like I said, I'm not going to stop there. I'm planning on putting all of the plant medicines, like applying, for access, legal access to all of the plant medicines that I use. It's
Gonna
part
have
of making
Section
a stand,
56s.
right?
She's gonna walk around with a binder. Yeah, I got my paperwork. Hang on. Which one do you need?
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, it's one way that I can show the government that this stuff does work medically. And I mean, like, hello, look at me, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Which
And
I do anyway, but yeah.
yeah, but I mean, just from that one time with Iboga now with your hip, right? Think of the tax dollars and the medical dollars that it's saved already on that from prescriptions. I mean, Big Pharma's not making money on it, but at the same time, you're not having to go to the doctor. You're not having to go to the hospital if you had to, or whatever. Things like that encroach on all the services.
Where my brain goes is because I'm a veteran. Where my brain goes is imagine if that was part of what soldiers went through when they came home from war. Hi, welcome home. Go over here and visit Patrick. He's going to take you through an Iboga ceremony. And then you can go home and see your wife, right? Or your husband. And imagine a lot of that stuff and what that could stop.
Absolutely.
That blows my mind. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's kind of where my thought process goes, right?
Absolutely. And we've worked a lot with veterans, from the States and from Canada and some from abroad. And we did another show too on the final, was it the Psychedelic Frontier? It was on City TV, right? Just past
with Patrick,
yeah. And it's actually on YouTube now under that. The whole thing's there too. People can watch that. And
that's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of information on a lot of different stuff on that show too, which is quite interesting, right? So
that's actually where I was gonna go next. Is I was gonna talk a little bit about how Cindy and I caught wind of you, and then Cindy just went out and she just like friended everybody on every social media platform that was involved in any of the movies, and which was great, and that's how she got it all going. But all this got started with watching you guys on TV, right? You were involved in 2 productions. City TV did Veracity, the Psychedelic Frontier, and then, of course, the movie Dosed. And you were involved in both of those.
Yeah. And they were, and they're pretty raw, they're pretty in your face, and it's, and they're both a little bit different. The nice thing with the Psychedelic Frontier, I mean, we had 2 people on there. One was a retired fireman with PTSD, and the unfortunate part, they never got to show his ceremony. It was really quite something, but we did show the ceremony we did with the veteran and with severe PTSD and addictions and such, and that is a beautiful thing to be able to watch and see how he, connects with everything and some healing. And even as far back as Dosed, with that young lady's whole journey. And, she'll say to today, I mean, she's still doing very well. And she'll say today, your life's still a journey. I still have to put my 2 cents in every day. I still have to be careful what I do, but I'm living and I'm loving. And she's doing so amazing. And that's what it's about. It's you don't just get in there and you go in, get to the doctor and get your hip replacement done. You go out and go, okay, I'm going to go bobsledding. Go ride a motorcycle. It takes time and moving forward with reverence. It's always about relationships and moving forward with reverence. And that's and it's beautiful. It can help so many people.
Yeah, it definitely can. It's like I said, I really see it with the veterans doing a world to stop them from, if Patrick was offered this when he got home, he wouldn't have gone down this road, right? And to me, that would be so that's something that's kind of where I look at it in the future, you know, like, wow, yeah, this has to be a step, you know, a step that they take when they're heading home.
Well, we have to start being, as a society and a government, more responsible for our people within that, you know, and us as neighbors too, you know, as tribes and everything else, start actually caring more for other people instead of just me first, me. It's all about me. And I mean, sure, my world's about me, but at the expense of my neighbor, no. You know, whatever happened to love thy neighbor, right? Whatever happened to that? You know, and so it's the same things with these boys and girls coming back from war. I mean, it doesn't get much more than that, putting your life on the line for your country, right? Whether you believed in it or not, you've gone, you know, and you come back and there's really no support at all. You're just left hanging in the wind. And this, wouldn't that be wonderful to be able to offer different psychedelics to these people to help?
Yeah.
We see a drastic difference.
One of our listeners, Ron McNabb, in the chat has put up the YouTube link for the Psychedelic Frontier.
Oh,
so if anybody is interested in watching it, they can go on to our OYE chat, and the link has been provided by listener extraordinaire, Ron McNabb.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very nice of Ron to do that. So the link is in the chat. It was an excellent doc, I thought, done by City TV. Dosed, of course, was amazing. There's a Dosed 2 now, right?
Yeah. And that's got to do with more with the mushrooms and that journey part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that when it comes out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Lots of movement in the psychedelic space. Question from a watcher that I had, a friend of mine who is also a registered nurse, and they ask, did you have any issues expanding your credentials in this direction with the nursing board?
I've been asked that a lot. Never. I've never had it. I've had conversations with the nursing boards. I've sat on the Supreme Court Council as a medical professional, like expert on this, like in criminal cases. And you know, they'll sit there and ask me. The last time I was there, the judge asked me, so this is kind of underground, and it's kind of gray. So you still doing this? I go, of course. I said, well, it's underground, right? I go, well, have you seen Dosed? I said, well, I've seen the preview. I said, well, I'm not really underground, and I have nothing to hide, because part of it is being a nurse. You got to think of what it is. You know, when you're doing that, is you're advocating for people. You're doing what you can do in your power to help with somebody, and I'm there, to help these clients and these guests move through in a safe way, and to be watchful for anything that could happen, or and support them in the best way. So there is nothing wrong with that. So I've never had a problem. No.
Excellent.
And that's with
So all of you are in
Ontario and BC and Alberta and Costa Rica and other places. It's never had a problem. I've talked with Health Canada and all the different hospitals and stuff many times, and it's good. Well received, actually.
Excellent. Well, I mean, doors are opening for this, all over the place. Much more acceptance today, I think, than there was 10 years ago. The conversations are happening everywhere. We've got industry now involved. United States, Holland, all over Africa, and Latin America it's really a sweeping the globe phenomenon, and it's following very much the same path that cannabis did.
Yeah.
The comparison is amazing.
You even have some of the licensed producers here in Canada with cannabis. They're in they're in the mushroom game. They've got their Section 56s for growing and doing all the research with now. So it's happening. I mean, this is what happened just before they gave licensed producers the go ahead to sell to patients. So fingers crossed that they're heading towards that.
Yeah.
Well, plant medicine. I mean, people generally, the public wants off pharma. And if you look in the plant world, pretty much every drug that is developed by big pharma, you can find a plant out there to do the same thing.
Absolutely. And isn't it funny that when we're talking about plant medicines, and say you're talking about medical marijuana, isn't it funny that we have a whole cannabinoid system within our body already? Or
the endocannabinoid system,
or the whole DMT scene, everything from ayahuasca to 5-MeO to whatever. Isn't it amazing that when we're born, we make DMT, when we die, we make DMT, and when we dream, we make DMT.
Yes,
something, right? And
right.
And so then there's another one, let's say with Iboga, our liver naturally creates Ibogaine, which is what it's transferred and stored into. So
that's right.
It's about
that's right. So I mean, it's all there. It's all there, and they're all receptors that are all over our bodies. Mother's milk contains cannabinoids, that we're feeding our babies when they're born. Our body produces it automatically, and it's in a mother's milk. When your endocannabinoid system is balanced or fed, it creates homeostasis within oneself, and the same can be said. When you're dreaming and you're creating the DMT, you're enabling a state of homeostasis, and I mean that's the ultimate for everybody. And then we go out and we buy this stuff in this bottle that just goes into your body and screws it all up. Why aren't we just eating more plants?
Right. And that's the movement going back to that. And it's about asking our providers, so what about this? And how does it go with that? I'm not going to ever say, forget the Western medical system. Don't ever take another pill in your life. Farmers, don't do anything. Just go strictly to medicine and pick it up off the ground and eat it, and it'll heal you. Like, no, because some things need to have both. And it's really
there's
true.
a place for everything.
Absolutely.
But I think there's overconsumption of anything is not good, right?
Absolutely. And we can have a proper marriage of both. And that would be the best of everything.
Yeah.
Because that stuff's been around for thousands and thousands of years. Why? We've evolved and changed, so the way we take it might be a little differently, but it's so important to have that marriage. And that's what I plan on doing. And that's one of the things that I've been doing for 10 years is finding that marriage, finding that symbiotic relationship, and how does it work properly, and presenting that to people.
Yeah. My one pharma that I can't seem to give up. Oh, I gotta have my Motrin. Gotta have my Motrin. I need it. My head aches, and that's the only thing that works. So still got a bottle of Motrin at my medicine cabinet, but there's lots of other stuff around it that is plant-based. So
and it's okay, because it's about relationships, right? It's about relationships with everything, from our friends to our meds we take to the things we do, or consume even, right? Relationships. And what kind of relationship is it? A healthy one? Is it one that's going to nourish you? Definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's quite the amazing journey, that's for sure. Cindy, big ass part of that journey now. I can't wait I think I'm almost maybe more excited for her next trip, because I just sit here and I'm like, okay, she's gonna call me. I know she's gonna call me, and she calls me while she's it's there, right? Okay, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. We're on video chat and shit. So I'm trying to keep up with everything. And then I talk to her when she comes back, and I'm just like, I can't wait for the next one, because I think it's going to be even bigger and better. And I can't wait.
Oh,
It'll
me
be
too.
exactly what she needs. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't know. I the DMT or the Iboga, I'm not sure which one I'm more excited to go back and do again. They were both very profound experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot from both of them.
Sure. And what's the problem with it's summer out, it's beautiful, it's sunny, and you want to take a ride on your Harley, and you also want to take a ride in your sports car, the top down. You're going to get experiences from both. Do them.
Yep.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's never a competition. It's
No,
about,
they're both amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And they come from for different reasons too, right? And just beautiful medicines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to have a nurse.
You really need.
Patrick.
You really need. You really need to do due diligence and be safe.
Yes.
I mean, these are real medicines.
I mean, you were monitoring her vitals, right? Like throughout the journey.
And I was assessing her
and
nonstop.
Yeah.
Nonstop assessing her.
Yeah.
She didn't breathe, cry, or fart without me knowing ahead of time what was going to happen. Was that a spoiler alert? I'm sorry. No. Well, now they know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, like when you are on your big dose, you're not left alone until they know that your toes have now touched down. You're okay. Now they'll take now they'll literally be alone for a little bit. But I never opened my eyes, and I was never alone when I was on the big dose, not once.
Yeah, that's important, and it's for everything. You should always have a guide. I mean, sure, people you can take things and do things on your own, like mushrooms and things. People have done it for years, and they say, "Oh, it's safe." Well, sure, but if you really want to truly have a ceremonial and a real experience that can be life changing, then have a guide with you, someone who knows what they're doing, really accredited, so they can help with it and make sure everything's safe, so you can just go all in and surrender, and not necessarily having someone near you clanking beer cans and and things and having a party.
Yes.
Right.
Not a good system.
No, it's not. No.
I can tell you that from personal experience. Don't do it that way. Not at a party. Okay. Not a good system at all. No. I mean, what's going on around you really affects the journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I was very lucky to end up in such a great and loving and compassionate spot. And then of course they took me to a beautiful Maloka to do some 5-MeO, which was just in the middle of the woods. Like, I mean, what better place to do 5-MeO, right? But in the middle of the woods.
It's right there.
So it's the right people and the right surrounding. These are not medicines, which would ever since I've been looking into it, I knew they were just not medicines to just do, right? Like, it's not like going and taking a Tylenol out of the cabinet. You really need to have people like you around to help. And I'm so grateful that I had you personally. Like, I mean, like you, it was fantastic. You were a great nurse, and like, I mean, you had a whole life. I have to bring this up. You had a whole life before you were a nurse. What did you do before you were a nurse?
I did all kinds of stuff. I mean, everything from construction to sales to, I mean, I was part of building the first Miami Vice boat for the first movie with, way back in the day. We built that, and all that kind of stuff, truck driving. I don't know. Worked in a mushroom factory,
Imagine that.
You know, all that kind of stuff. Oh no, I've just done everything possible, pretty much. You know, but you know, I knew that I wanted to help people, and that I was meant to help people, and the last 30 years, I mean, it was all to bring me to this place now, so I can truly help people when this is a big need for it now, and so I'm just trying to do my part and educate people, and yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Mm.
amazing. And you
Yeah.
do a fantastic job, I gotta tell you. I feel like I knew you already just
Mm.
from conversations with Cindy because she speaks so highly of you. I mean, we have conversations regularly, and your name pops up, and she just appreciates you so very,
Mm.
very much.
Mm.
And it, it's it just fills my heart. It
That's
just fills my
that's
heart,
really nice to hear.
that
Yeah,
you
I mean,
guys
I
do
have
that.
to say, disclaimer, she was kind of under the influence when she met me, so does she really know me? I don't know.
Absolutely. So if somebody else wanted to go through the experience that Cindy
Mhm.
did or anything similar, how do they get a hold of you? Tell us about how to get a hold of you guys and some of your companies.
Yeah, so well, for the one that Cindy went through is Inner Realms. So that's innerrealmcenter.com, and you can just reach out to them, and then they'll start the process talking, and then getting the medical tests through me and such like that. The the other part that I work with as well is with the dose movies and such, and that's with IbogaSoul, Shamanic Healings, and SunRiver Sanctuary Retreats, and that's at info@ibogasoul.com. And so you can reach out to either one, and either one's going to get, one's more for Ibogaine. Inner Realms is more for Ibogaine. They do use a bit of a TA with it as well, the total alkaloids. And then the other part with IbogaSoul is we use straight root bark and total alkaloids. And it's more
Which
of a traditional.
Yeah, we talked about the difference when we had Gareth on talking about my journey. We talked about the fact that Ibogaine is just like it's one part. It's one alkaloid coming out of
Mhm.
Iboga. It's not the total thing.
That's right.
And they do. Iboga was I did a very small amount of Iboga on my handshake dose, and it really it was really powerful. Gareth said that like your handshake dose will be a couple of hours, and 7 hours later, my toes touched earth again. So I was very susceptible to the meds, and but it was fantastic. It was a great spirit, an amazing spirit to spend some time with.
Yeah, and how fortunate, right?
Yeah.
And with the help of this kind of shows like this, other people can learn. And,
Yes.
And it's beautiful to be able to share with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I get when I first came out of ceremony, I mean, like the first, I'd say, month and a half, I would wake up to there were a couple of mornings, 400 or 500, comments or messages of people just asking questions just because they were so curious and excited about it. And so, yeah, I was, more than happy to answer all of them. It took a long time, but I still to this day, I mean, if somebody wants to get me talking about my journey and my experience, I go into it with such an excitement because it keeps it fresh. Right. And, and I find that, I get more benefits out of it that way too, keeping it fresh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, it's great to share with
I don't
people.
see that wearing off either.
No, it's great to share with people, and people, they can listen to you and such, but they're never really going to truly know until they experience it themselves, and then they know. It's one thing to hear about it, and one thing to know in your heart of hearts what the experience is, and it's just beautiful, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, very much like so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to mine with DMT. I'm very much looking forward to it. So I'm going to have to get off my ass and get my due diligence done to make sure that I come out of this safely and in good health without any repercussions that are unexpected as instructed My nurse Patrick. And I always take nurses' orders. I never take doctor's orders, but I always take nurses' orders. So there you go. It's been great having you on the show. I'd like to give an opportunity. I know you'd already said where to get a hold of everything, but we do have a shout out as well. If you'd like to just, give a shout out to somebody, thanks, offer up another website, anything along those lines, floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. It's really an honor, and it's an honor to get to know Cindy, and of course, been talking with you a little bit over the while, Kim. And I love your show, and I just like what you guys are presenting to everybody else. And like I say, yeah, you can go to both those places there, innerrealmscenter.com or info@IbogaSoul.com, and you can look that way there. You can look me up on Instagram at Essential Truths and Wellness, and that's who we are. And we offer coaching as well for detoxification or addiction, recovery, psychedelic integration, preparation as well. So that's my shout outs.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, we will post those links up on the site at the end of the show. We'll put them as tags at the end of the show onto the feed in the chat. So people that are looking to find you will be able to do so easily through our chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great and enlightening chat, and filled with love and laughs. And that's the kind of show I always love.
Bless you. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Patrick Fishley. Great show today. My joint host, Miss Cindy Howell, as always, in the house with me here on the Pace Radio Network. We'd like to say thanks again to Patrick Fishley for joining us, and my joint host, Cindy Howell, and of course to all of you for joining us this week on Open Your Eye here on the Pace Radio Network, the new show where we explore medicinal properties of a variety of psychedelic plants, herbs, and fungi. We hope we have opened some doors on your curiosity to find out more about the use of psychedelics and you here on Open Your Eye. We'll see you back here in 2 weeks' time with another great, exciting guest talking about psychedelic medicine here on Open Your Eye, paceradio.net. See you again soon.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done with a twice-weekly broadcast of the Reefer Reporters and by providing cannabis advocates a place to be heard through Cannabis and Coffee to Marijuana and the award-winning Pace Radio Show. Catch it all here at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains, and when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed, and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.